Hello and welcome to a guide on Tie Bomber damage on the Nebulons. Dealing the damage to the Nebulon cruisers as safely and as quickly as you can is one of the most important parts of playing the game well at a competitive level, and I'm here to show you how it's done. So the basic idea of this orbit is to have as much damage, as much rotary uptime as possible, as much time shooting as possible, while also getting being as mobile as possible, moving as quickly as possible, and as difficult to hit a pattern as possible. And yeah, just all of the damage and all of the evasion all in one neat little package. And this is the most effective way I've found to do it with just the rotary on the Tie Bomber. So I've been doing it for just a second over here. You notice I still did take some amount of chip damage here. That's due to the turrets on the cruiser still being up. There's only so much you can do as an individual Tie Bomber, but you'll see as the turrets get stripped from this cruiser, I do take less and less damage over time. So it is important that your support does help you out with the resupplies in the meantime, and that you focus on taking down those turrets in quick order. But anyway, so the orbit itself is a long ways orbit, which you can do even with the Raider there. You just have to be a little bit careful and a bit conscious of where it is. Where basically every time I boost, I'm pulling about 10 or 15 degrees away from the cruiser, and then I just pull up to keep my crosshair on the cruiser. And I'd be careful to maintain such a distance that as I pull, it's not going straight past me. I'll give you an example of what it looks like when what you don't want to happen is pulling like this, and you see my cursor is off the cruiser for a second. So for example, if I'm very close to the nose of the cruiser, I boost far away, and I have a couple of seconds where I can't quite aim at the cruiser because I'm just boosting way past it. For example, if I chose to boost here, I have a couple seconds where I can't shoot it. So you have to be patient with your drifts. Make sure that you are past to the nose of the cruiser or the tail of the cruiser before you make your next drift, boost drift, so that you don't have to turn so hard to keep your guns on target. Ooh, little lag spike there. And so you can pay attention to my cursor as well to see exactly where I'm aiming and how I'm doing this. I'm kind of feathering the cursor. I pull very hard at the beginning and somewhat towards the middle, but I will pull down as I notice my my drift is ending, so that I can shunt to engines and get a boost in to continue my orbit. I also pull very hard up, in this case up, so you can pull down if you want to, or to the left or right if you want to, in this case up, in order to get my in order to start turning as hard as I can right as I start my boost drift there. I'm sitting here at 2 HP. I haven't taken any damage in a little bit. I expect that to change very soon. But this is just, I just wanted to give you an idea of what that's like. I did a little multi-drift there into the engines. Do watch out for that. They can't kill you. But that's just to get the idea of what that's like with the with just that rotary there. So like I was saying before, I can just demonstrate this on the cruisers for a second as well. You do want to boost past the nose, and then rather than boosting away from the cruiser, you kind of want to be boosting towards the cruiser's center every time that you do boost. So for example, this is towards the center. Imagine like a giant pole sticking out from above and below the cruiser. You want to be boosting towards that, not away from it. So like that was not a very good boost because, oh, I had to do that, but it's not great because I had a lot of time where I wasn't looking at it. If you boost towards kind of a pole sticking out of the center of the cruiser, then you will be in good shape because you will immediately be able to get guns on target. And so then you have this kind of orbit around the cruiser that's kind of oval shaped with some angular edges and stuff. Nothing too crazy there. And very, very key is that shunt charging tech for the Tie Bomber. Notice I put power into engines right as I shunt to keep from losing energy with jet engine, but if you run slam, no problem, just shunt back and forth without any worries. So that is how you do it with jet engine, but there remains a question of how do you do it with proton torps, and I'm just going to take a little intermission here and show you how to do it with proton torps and how you can get the most damage per second. By the way, for those curious, the rotary with the multi-locks and Goliath does at max about 700 or so damage per second to a Nebulon, and that's not including any turrets that you're stripping. We're going to go ahead and attack the other side Nebulon while I show you how to do the attack with the proton torps. And I'll actually also show you a little handy technique with power management, where if you have a lot of extra power, you can also have rotary going on literally all the time. So here's how you set up with your proton torp. You get a nice upward drift going over here. Ideally, you also fire the proton torp on approach. I forgot that part. And then you go back to the front of the cruiser just like this, and notice at about 300 or 400, there is my proton torp actually starts locking on, and so I can fire it. And I notice I'm not actually trying to get the torp to boost it in fire like I would in an X-wing. That's just because I think NR doesn't usually have as much time to pressure the bombers as much. And then I want to do like one boost out to the front, out to the top, and then come back to the front. And I'm messing it up here. The angle, see, the angle is a little bit rough here, so I'm gonna do it again. And just whenever you mess it up, don't be afraid to just like focus on getting that rhythm back, because the most important thing here is making sure you have a good rhythm for like the rest of your runs. Cool. I get back there for the Protorp. The Protorp cooldown is only 10 seconds, so already here, oh, a little bit of lag spike there. Anyway, already there, I'm looking for getting in the front again. And you could boost forwards here as well. I'll showcase what that looks like. But I just like this because it gives me the most rotary damage I could possibly want. And then, and just simplifies my movement as I go through these. I'll shoot the turrets in the back as well while I'm here. No reason not to. Here I have to pull down really hard to set up for my other torp run. You can see I'm getting very similar rotary damage to the other attack pattern. The main difference is that I am dedicating a lot to getting those Protorps off, and that does make me a lot more vulnerable. I haven't quite figured out just what it looks like when you make yourself not so vulnerable, but I can show you quickly, get resupply and show you how it looks with the boostings. Let's pop back here and sit under cruiser for a second. Get a couple of turrets back, and off we go. As before, boost up, fire multi-locks. Oh. Lag spike there. Watch out for those. And you just want to be at the front of the cruiser, and I'll just do a little boost in, get the torp off. I notice when I do it that way, I do lose a lot of my laser DPS. Not only do I have to stop firing in order to shunt the engine to boost, but then I also have to do a second boost, pull up, and then pull back down in order to get my rotary back on target. Where it's just something like, I'll show this again, this pattern where I just fire from a standstill drift. The torp will still go in most cases, and I will get a lot of consistent rotary damage in as well. Most of the time, if you're getting shot at, you won't be able to fire your torps anyway, so what I prefer is to cycle targets in between my rotary runs. So I'll just show by like cycling between some AI X-Wings here, and I'm out of torps again, but just imagine if I had some Protorps right here, and then I go to the front, and if I had a Protorp, I was the right angle, I would fire my Protorp right here, and then go back to cycling players and just making sure that no one's on me. And if someone was on me, I would be able to very quickly switch to this kind of orbit where I just go around the cruiser like this. And then if I have a support that's really on top of it, I can just do this while getting resupplies and dodging just enough fire from the enemy player that I don't really have to worry about dying. And that's about it. If you have any questions in the comments, please feel free to let me know. I do my best to respond to those. And thank you for watching. Have a good night.